Right, you are now all muted, so it's just me you can hear, unfortunately, I'm afraid. I've got Roy sitting 2 meters away from me. We've only got one laptop at the club today, so he couldn't join even if he was able to this time. So Roy will be inputting a little bit if needed as we go along. I'll try and keep my ums to a minimum. I looked at the recording the other day, and I think almost every other word was so I'll try and minimise that wherever I can. And apologies if I don't succeed. Right, we have, yes, 86. Right, let's have a look at the chat. I've got a couple of questions that I've already got from people in advance, as I mentioned. I'll start with a bit of background. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat that's already there. It's all about muting, I think. Right, will there be any? Right, okay, let's start with where we are now. We were a little surprised to be given such a short notice period for golf clubs being able to open, and we still haven't got the full guidelines from England Golf and the government, I guess. There's been no guideline yet in terms of whether pro shops can open. There's been no guideline in terms of exactly how we should be operating. So we're going to make it up ourselves, partly, but part of it will be in line with the rules that have been set. So having thought that initially it was going to be 1 balls and people from households, we now know that it's not, that we can have 2 balls as long as proper social distancing is in operation. So that's a positive to start with. In terms of tee times are mandatory. So everything has to be done through tee time booking. We have the capability to do tee time booking through the Club V1 app and through the members area of the website. At the moment, it's not turned on for people. At the moment, people can see the tee times there from Wednesday onwards, but can't book them. It says contact the pro shop, I think, or contact the office. As of 3 p.m. this afternoon, tee times will go live for the next 3 days only, initially. Those tee times will start at 8 in the morning on the first tee. They will finish at 4 p.m. and they will be for 9 holes only initially. That is largely due to the demand that we will have. There are clubs that have already opened their tee booking this morning and last night, and they've had massive demand, and that there is a mixture between 18 holes and 9 holes that people have done. But in terms of maximising the number of people that can use the course, we are restricting it to 9 holes until Sunday. So as of Monday, people will be able to book for 18 holes. So the first tee will start at 8 a.m. The 10th tee will start at 9 a.m. We have had questions about whether we can open early to maximise the course usage, so open at 6:30, 7:30, that sort of thing. If we're going to keep the course in any sort of reasonable condition, that's not going to be possible, because the greenkeepers have to have time to cut greens, to prepare what they can without people on the course. Otherwise, they just won't be able to do their work. And that's equally the reason for closing or stopping bookings at 4 o'clock, because the green staff will be splitting their shifts so that they'll be working early morning and then later in the evening. So and this is the initial stage. It will change, it will open up, but the initial stage is 9 holes, tee booking 8 AM till 4 PM. In terms of locker rooms, we haven't been given the guidance yet, but I'm aware that some people will need to access clubs, trolleys, that sort of thing. And toilets are certainly an issue as well. So what we will be doing, we will be opening the locker rooms at 7:45, closing the locker rooms at 6 PM. That will enable those starting at 8 o'clock to get equipment out of lockers, and those starting at 4 o'clock to finish their round and get back in the locker rooms should they need to. And what we are asking people to do is, once they've collected their equipment from the locker room, if they are able to, please take the equipment home, leave it in the car if you are able to. And that is largely from a social distancing point of view to minimize the number of people that need to use the locker rooms for clubs and that sort of thing. I appreciate people are paying for lockers. I appreciate that the lockers are there and we're not taking the use of them away, but we are requesting, if it's possible, in the short term, that people can take equipment away. The electric trolley store will still be in operation. There's no alarm on that as such, so people can still access the trolleys. So again, if they're not able to take them home, if they want to leave them there, they will be there. Based on the tee times and the intervals are 10 minutes between tee times. This seems like a long time for a 2-ball, but they are rules that have been set by the R&A. So we have no option at the moment but to stick by those. In terms of bunkers, in terms of a bit more about the course, let's start with hole cups. We have ordered some, I don't know what you call them. Pool lifters, yes. Or ball lifters, so that you can lift the ball out of the hole using your putter on a lever that's attached to the pin. They will hopefully be here by tomorrow. If not, we'll have the same system initially that we finished with before we went into lockdown, with the discs in the holes to stop the ball dropping too far. But we are hoping, and we have been advised that they should be here by tomorrow. So we should be able to have them in place. In terms of practice facilities, the practice area will remain closed at the moment. The nets will remain closed at the moment. The putting green will be available for up to 4 people at any one time, and only up to 4 people. And the reason for that is we haven't had the guideline as to whether or not we are allowed to open it. But we think that we have a big putting green, and for those people that are immediately before they go out to play, there's no reason why 4 people can't use the putting green. So that will be open for a maximum of 4 people. How many times a week will you be able to book? Maximum twice a week initially, and once in the initial 3-day period of Wednesday to Friday. The reason for this is hopefully obvious, that we're trying to maximise the number of members that can use the golf course over the short period of time, bearing in mind how long it's been closed to all members. How many days in advance will you be able to book? The plan at the moment is 3. That will extend, but initially it'll be 3 days. So today you'll be able to book for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe. 1, 2, 3, yes, should be. Where are we? As I said, yes, the practice ground is initially going to be closed. Bunkers are going to be ground under repair, and you must take relief from bunkers initially. Bunkers, I'm sorry, just letting 2 more people in. Bunkers are in a pretty poor state at the moment. They've got sand all over the place, and the risk, if people take a preferred lie or whatever in the bunker, the risk is that you will damage the liner because they're not in a good situation. We know we've had a lot of animal movement in there. We've also had people in there making sandcastles, unfortunately, which might look very nice for children, but isn't any good for golf. So bunkers at the moment will be ground under repair. Based on these tee times, we reckon we can get 180 people on the course over the next, per day, 180 people per day on the course, playing 9 holes until Sunday. As of Monday, we will open it up to 18 holes from the first tee only. This will make it easier for the greenkeepers to know where people are. It will make their job easier. It will also mean that people can play a proper 18-hole round of golf. Times will be confirmed whether or not we're sticking with the same times or whether we will open them up a little bit. In terms of monitoring, we will hopefully by tomorrow have a one-way system in place around the car park and the clubhouse. The intention is that people will enter the course via either the archway or through past the patio if they're coming from the top area of the car park. Leaving the course, you'll be asked to leave to the right-hand side of the pro shop, between the pro shop and the practice nets, just so we can have as much as possible a flow of people. Now, it's not possible to have a flow of people around at the entrance to the locker rooms, but we will do whatever we can to get the system in place to make it a one-way system where possible. Okay. I'm going to start with a couple of questions that we've had sent in. Yes. Right. If the course reopens 2 balls on Wednesday, I guess it's going to be extremely busy. Yes, it will be. For the next few weeks, can I suggest we allow 5-day members to play on weekends after 4 PM when the course is usually very quiet? No, I'm afraid that's not going to be possible. Because we're having to restrict numbers in terms of tee times and that sort of thing. The weekends will be busy all weekend, I think. There won't be quiet times. And as I've already said, we're restricting it to the last tee time at 4 o'clock at the moment. So, and also we have significantly more full members who possibly can only play at weekends than we do 5-day members at the moment. So that's something that we'll look at in the future, but at the moment we can't do, I'm afraid. Second one, can we, or a couple of people have asked this, can we extend tee times to earlier, 7:30 or earlier, so that we can get more people on? As I've already explained, unfortunately that's not possible because the course staff have to be able to have some time to do their work on the course. Yeah, particularly as Roy's just said, we are not bringing back the additional 2 members of green staff at the moment. We're operating on 4 green staff. That is purely a cost-saving exercise. We have no income other than members' subs still coming in. We're not taking visitors. We're not taking green fees. And at the moment, to be prudent, we are keeping those other 2 members of green staff furloughed. Yeah, absolutely. It is under review and will be reviewed daily, weekly, wherever we need to. And as we're able to open up to some visitors at some stage, which might be June for members' guests or that sort of thing, then we might have some income coming in that we can justify increasing the number of staff available. both on the course and potentially in the club. But the clubhouse is likely to remain closed, I would guess, from the guidelines until July at the very earliest. So we'll have to work on that. Right, a question about members rejoining. Firstly, I'd like to preempt my question by thanking the chairman and the board for all the hard work they've done. Here. The question: what are the chairman's and the board's views on members who have elapsed their membership and have not taken advantage of the hardship committee scheme? Should the lapsed members wish to rejoin in, say, 3 months' time, will there be a rejoining fee or administration charge to cover the shortfall? This is something that the board have been talking about at length for quite a long time now, in terms of what we do with this group of people. And the simple answer is each person will be taken on merit in terms of the reasons for not rejoining, the reasons, whether it's health reasons, whether they have gone to the committee and told them. There are going to be so many different reasons for someone not rejoining. We will take each on its merits, and it will be done through the committee, who have been looking at situations for those who have in troubled times financially. So everything will be done through the committee and referred to the board. For their recommendations will be referred to the board.
But the principle is, we said we will try and be fair to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. The principle is we know we must be fair, and we want to be fair to the people that have committed to the club in advance and not knowing when we were going to open. So those people, you know, we need to be fair to them. We need to be fair. We need to look at and still consider it as an annual membership, and that is the way it will be treated. And also looking at the contribution that people have made to the time when we have been closed, they have still been putting money in. Right, I'm going to start off on some questions on the chat. Can I book your tea time on Wednesday? No, tea times will open up at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and everyone will have the same chance to book the tea times, so that it's fair to everyone. Will there be any sort of marshalling when the course opens to stop slow play? I think that's a rule. That's something that we could do every day of the year, all year round. Marshalling is something that I was going to mention. I haven't yet. We will be asking if anyone is willing to volunteer to marshal certain areas, and one of those areas will be the car park, to make sure that people don't come in if they haven't got a tea time booked. One of them will be the first tee, to make sure that people are social distancing, to make sure that people are teeing off at the correct time, and to make sure that they have got the tea time booked. Or if not by the first tee, it might be by the pro shop, so that those starting at the 10th go and check in with that person effectively. Possibly also the locker room, possibly also one person on the course. It depends how many people are willing to volunteer to give up some time. And the advice that clubs have been given is that it should be a maximum of 2 hours at a time for any one volunteer, if they're willing to do so. So if you are willing to volunteer, you'd like to volunteer, then please drop me an email rather than through the chat, because I won't be able to make a note of the 100 people that are going to volunteer. Sorry, 91 there are on the right. So yes, we will be looking for volunteers, and that will go out on an email later as well, to try and enable that. Ed, you can't hear me. No, it shouldn't be working any differently. Hopefully you can hear me now. I understand we can play twice a week. I agree with this, to book a week in advance. However, surely if a tea time is available on the day, we can book this as well to ensure everyone can play and also utilising the golf course 100%. Yes, I don't disagree with that. If on the day there are tea times later in the day that haven't been used, then I think the way to do that would be to phone the pro shop, assuming the pro shop's open. And Stuart has very kindly volunteered to give out his mobile number to any members, so that if they can't use the app, they can't use the members area of the website, then they will be able to phone Stuart and he will book in the tea time, the next tea time that's available for that person. So yes, on the day, if there are tea times available, I don't think there's an issue with them being booked in, even if that person has played. Right. If it's only for 9 holes, can't we extend the evening time past 4 o'clock? No, unfortunately not, because, as I've said, it's to help the greenkeepers to do some work in the evenings, and if we've got people dotted around on the course, it's going to stop them doing that. It's also going to mean that the locker rooms potentially have got to be open later. At the moment, the locker rooms will be closed at 6. If it's all got to be done on tea times, which has at the moment, then I don't think we can. It's something we will look at in future, and we will look to open it up more as time goes on. But for the initial period, it'll be 4 o'clock. I could not get my clubs out of my locker before the lockdown. Sorry. How can I get them out safely prior to playing? We will. Well, it will be social distancing. The locker rooms will be open, as I think I've already covered, hopefully. Twice per week, is that Monday to Sunday? Yes. Twice in any one week initially. Will somebody be checking us in when we turn up to play? Assuming we have, either it will be checking in through the pro shop, if the pro shop's open, if the pro shop's allowed to be open. If not, then it will be hopefully a volunteer or possibly myself at sometimes. Can we play after 4 o'clock? Not at the moment, but as I say, well, play will go up until 6 o'clock, obviously, because someone playing 9 holes will start at 4 and finish at 6. But at the moment, we are restricting it to 4 o'clock. But we'll look to open that up as soon as we can. And it might be that once we open it up to 18 holes next week, it might be that we can extend it after 4 o'clock, because the greenkeepers will have more space on the course first during the morning to do their work. But until Sunday, we're going to keep it till 4 o'clock. I would like to just practice on my own. Any restriction on that? The course, as far as I'm concerned, will be closed after 6 o'clock, after the last tea time has finished their 9 holes. Again, that will open up at some stage, but initially that's probably open. Is anyone else having trouble getting on the club even on the phones? There was an issue with it yesterday. I think there was an awful lot of traffic yesterday. I've been on it today and haven't had a problem. I can have a quick look now to see if I can get on it while I'm chatting. Yeah, okay, it's saying there's a server error. I will look at that after the meeting and deal with that. I know that a lot of golf clubs have had problems with all of their systems, largely because there are so many people going on to set up tea times that most members clubs haven't had tea time booking up until now, because they haven't used it for members. But all clubs are now going to need it, and that's why it's crashed a little bit by the look of it. So I'll look at that. Yeah, the ball lifters, I'll send out a video. I've got a video of how they work. So I'll send out a video on a link later as well. Disappointing regarding times, stopping a lot of players who have committed to paying their fees to support the club. yes, I know that people have supported the club by paying their fees. We have to have some restrictions initially. It's not possible to do that, to do it properly without these restrictions. And we will be monitored. All golf clubs will be monitored in terms of what they're doing to make sure they are complying with what is has been set down as guidelines or rules. So we will open it up as quickly as we can.
David, can you just re-emphasise that point? That we need to see what the demand is. We'll be constantly reviewing it. Our desire is to open it up as much as we can sensibly, and we will do that as quickly as we can. So I don't think people are getting it.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know if you heard what Roy just said, but we will be opening things up as soon as we can. We will be monitoring demand. We'll be looking at how many tee times are used, how many are booked, how many are free, if any. And then we will open it up as quickly as we can. We don't want to restrict members more than we have to. But for the initial 5-day period, Wednesday to Sunday, we're going to keep these in place. Hopefully after that, we'll be able to extend it a bit more. But we will have to do that.
It depends on the way everybody behaves.
It does also, yes, as Roy says, it depends on members' behaviour. If members comply with what we're asking them to do, it will give us more confidence to open things up a bit more. And that I'll come on to that in a minute in terms of other areas. Are single-use buggies available? Single-seated trolleys, people's own single-seated trolleys are allowed as normal. Single-use buggies, initially, no, purely from a safety point of view. But that is one of the first things that we will look to open up. And that will probably be limited to people that have to use a buggy to be able to get on the course. They won't be open for general use. But for those that have to use a buggy to be able to get on the course, yes, we will get them in play as soon as possible.
Sensibly, we can't do that until the shop's open.
Yes, until the shop's open, we can't do it. And hopefully we'll have some guidelines later today in terms of shops. But we're still waiting on that at the moment. Are the tea times always released at 3 o'clock? I'll update you on that. No, probably not. The initial tea times will be released at 3 o'clock. After that, I will put on email and social media what time tea times will be released in future. There will be a set time, so it might be 9 o'clock in the morning for 3 days' time. Will be the time. It is an automatic setting on the tea booking system. I need to put that down in terms of what time the tea booking will open. Okay, please repeat the booking procedure. Okay, so on the members app, when it works, if you click into the menu, there's a booking option on the menu. If you click into that, tea booking is on there. It's something that I've opened up over the last couple of days, and you can book through there. There are two courses effectively. There's a front 9 and a back 9, and you need to choose which. So you can flick between the two, the front 9 times and the back 9 times, to see if the time that you want is available. So that's on the app. The members area of the website works in very much the same way. You click into the members area, and there's a booking tab on there, and you can book your tea in that way. Why are we restricting tea times? People are now working. Yes, people are working. People work all the time. It's initially the same as winter. And I know it's not winter. I know it's beautifully sunny out there today, and people would love to be on the course from 6 in the morning until 9 at night. Initially, so that the greenkeepers can do their work, so that we can monitor usage and demand, that's what it's got to be initially. I know other clubs are doing different times. I know some other clubs are doing 18 holes, which will mean less people on the course, but they might open it up more. These are the rules that we have set initially. But as I say, we will be opening up more times, 18 holes, longer tee times as soon as we can. To avoid congestion in the car park, how many minutes before tee time should we aim to arrive? Thank you for that. Yes, I've got it on my list of things that I should have mentioned. We are asking people not to arrive more than 15 minutes before their tee time. So if your tee time is 8 o'clock in the morning, the earliest you should arrive is 7:45. That is when the locker rooms will be open. We're also asking that you come ready to play golf. We don't want anyone changing in the locker rooms. The locker rooms are literally for collecting clubs, going to the toilet. No changing shoes in the car park, and changing for golf at home, please. Will there be someone to check people are teeing off on time, that they have actually booked a tee time? That is the intention, yes. It will rely. We haven't got sufficient staff to be able to marshal all different areas. At the moment, the only person other than greenkeepers and Lynn who's doing accounts is me, and I can't be in 5 different places at once, however much my wife would like me to be. But we will aim to have someone checking people in, yes. Okay, thank you for the comment. I agree with that means tested approach for rejoining. Can I just request, please, that members are treated like adults, including the juniors, with regard to social distancing, etc., with as few unnecessary restrictions as possible? Yes, I think everyone's had it drummed into them over the last 7-8 weeks, however long it's been now. People know what's expected. We will try and treat people like adults, or we will treat people like adults as long as they respect the rules that we put in place. We need people to respect the rules, and one of those rules I was going to mention later, but I will mention now, is after rounds. The guidelines are, as soon as you've finished golf, you should be leaving the club. That is totally alien to a lot of what normally happens at the club in terms of meeting for a drink, staying for a drink, staying for a chat. Unfortunately, in these strange times, that is not possible at the moment. There will be people that are going to consider bringing beers in to sit on the patio because it's been done before. No, that can't happen. If that happens, the golf clubs will be closed down again. All it needs is one person from a house nearby to see that happening and to report it. And if it happens often enough, golf will be shut down. We have to respect the rules. If people want to meet for a beer after a round of golf, please go to Stanborough Park in your pairs. Now, if you've got a pair who are sitting 5 meters away from another pair, then that's social distancing. But please don't do it at the golf club. Do it somewhere where we will not get into trouble. We will not get fined for people not respecting the rules. Are we assuming that if someone is late for their tee time, they miss it? Yes, unfortunately so. If we have to have tee times in place, if people aren't here on time, we can't delay everyone else and have queuing on the tee. I'm afraid, yes, they've missed the time. Would it not be an idea to place the timesheet on the Pro Shop on the day? Yes, we can probably print out a copy of the tee sheet so that people can see it. I'll need to look at that and see how possible. I know we can print it, so yes, there's no reason why that shouldn't be able to be done. Can the green staff not work on either the front 9 or the back 9 on alternate days so tee times can be booked after 4 o'clock? It's going to be, it's a work in progress, I think is a simple answer to that. Brett is going to have to monitor how it's going to work. With only 4 staff working, he's under the cosh to get everything that needs to be done. Grass is growing quickly. The greens need to be cut at least every other day, if not every day at the moment, the way they're growing. So this will be, we will have constant discussions with Brett in terms of what's possible, what's not possible. And if we can open up tea times, then we will do. But we can't, at the moment, commit to tea times after 4 o'clock. But we will review it, as I've said. The tea times mean no golf after work, discriminating people who are working. It's for 5 days, is what I would say initially. Hopefully, the people that are working can play at weekends. That is what a lot of people. I know we're in the summer period, but to be able to get as many people to play as possible at the times that it's going to be possible to operate the golf club. This is what we have to do for the initial 5-day period. Why can't we play evenings and trusted to behave sensibly after any staff have gone home? We don't know at the moment what time staff are going to be working till. This is all very, it's been sprung upon us. We haven't had as much time to finalise the details. I know we've been working towards this time for a long time, but to be told Monday we can open on Wednesday doesn't give us a lot of time to finalise all the details. We are doing everything we can to get things in place to make it easier for members.
Particularly given that some of the government rules are still not clarified.
Yeah, some of the government rules still aren't clarified. I mean, Sunday evening, you'll probably agree with me. We got no detail at all. We didn't get any detail until the document was published at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. We didn't know whether 2 balls were going to be allowed until 2:30, when we'd had a chance to have a look at the document and see that another person was allowed to play with a second person. So please bear with us. There are clubs that aren't opening until Friday or Saturday at the moment because they haven't got things in place, because they're not confident that they can get everything sorted in time to open tomorrow or Thursday. Now, we want to open as early as we can, which is tomorrow, which we will do, but there have to be restrictions in place initially. We're doing everything we can to get people on the course as quickly and as safely as possible. And it has to be safe not only for members, but also for staff and for volunteers. As I'm working the 4 PM rule means I'm now a 2-day member. Initially, yes. Hopefully only for this week. And I would suggest that during the winter, people who are working during the week are 2-day members anyway, because they can only work at weekends. We are working on it, believe me, to extend. I mentioned the putting green, but I really meant the range and practice green, what restrictions are for those areas. The practice area currently is closed. With the pro shop not open, with the guidelines initially saying that that at the moment driving ranges are closed. We've got no clarification on driving ranges. All practice areas are closed at the moment, except for the putting green. But again, when we're able to, when we're given the go-ahead, we will get them open as soon as we can. Yes, twice a week at the moment. But again, once we know that all members have had the chance to play and there becomes a bit of capacity to open it up, then we will remove the restriction of twice a week. Can a member book a 2-ball, or does everyone have to book themselves in? That's a good question, and to be honest, I haven't been able to trial the system because it's not been live. I think you'll be able to book a 2-ball, but I'm not 100% certain on that until it goes live. So bear with me. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, I guess we'll find out the answer. But hopefully everyone will be able to book for themselves and one other person. Okay, you need to give as much notice as possible for booking times, otherwise members will miss this if they work during the week. Yeah, okay, we will. I haven't set up the T-sheet yet for the weekend, so it can't go live yet. But when it's set up, then I will open it up as quickly as I can. Is the 16th hole open now, or still 16A? As far as I'm aware, and it's a very good question because I haven't asked Brett the question. As far as I'm aware, the whole course is now in play. The bunker work has been finished. The turf has taken very well. There may be a couple of areas of GUR, but as far as I'm aware, the whole course is open, and 16 is looking very good, which I'm sure you'll look forward to seeing. How about requiring all players to volunteer for marshalling so everyone supports this temporary situation? It would be nice to be able to do that. I don't think we can enforce it. It would be nice if everyone did so. Are we still using preferred lies? Yes, I would say so at the moment. We haven't had a chance to do the divoting that we intended to do if we've been given a bit more notice. So there are still some divots on some fairways. I would say yes, we'll be on preferred lies initially. At the moment, it's social golf. You can make your own rules within the 2-ball that you're playing in. It shouldn't cause an issue for anyone if we have preferred lies in at the moment. Is the V1 booking system the same as on the members' website, at the club website Members Hub? Yes, they are linked. They are exactly the same. Thank you. It's been a very good meeting. Good. Glad you enjoyed it. I'll carry on with. I've still got another 25 messages to get through. After the first week of 3-day bookings in advance, will it then extend to weekly or even further? After the initial trial period, surely we should be able to book 7 to 10 days in advance. Yes, yes, we will extend the booking to, as you say, that sort of period. I would say 7 days as a minimum after the initial period. If 2 names are not listed, surely you will not be able to police who should be playing. There are, on the booking system, you do book 2. There is space for 2 people to be booked. Whether one person can book those 2 people, or whether they need to go in individually to book the second place, I don't know. But it definitely does have 2 places on the tee sheet for each tee time. Okay. Apparently, still people having trouble on Club V1. As soon as I get off this call, I'll get onto them and find out what the issue is, and sort it so that booking can go live when we need it to. Surely the aim should be to go back to no bookings as capacity releases. That will largely be dictated by the rules that are set in place. At the moment, we are dictated that all bookings, all golf has to be through booked tee times. We will, I have no doubt, go back to no tee times when we are able to. That's certainly the aim from my point of view. it's always been a roll-up club where people can go on and enjoy their golf whenever they want to. As far as I'm concerned, that hasn't changed. There's been no decision to change that. We are purely following guidelines at the moment that tee times have to be booked. Right, where are we? I think that's got through everyone's questions on the chat. No, there's one come through. Couple more, right? I just feel that as soon as possible, 4 balls need to be brought in unless they are explicitly forbidden. 4 people who are no more risky than 2 when social distancing in fresh air. I know not immediately, but I think the RNA are working on a document that was more about appeasing government and using evidence. All the guidelines at the moment, all the stipulations at the moment are it's 2 balls. The only exception that you might see on the RNA guidance is that if one household has more than 2 members of the club, then you could extend it to a 3 or a 4 ball. But that is purely for people in one household. That makes tee booking impossible because you can't have some two balls, some 3 balls, some 4 balls. We have made the decision everything will be 2 balls at the moment while that restriction is in place. Yes, as soon as possible and as soon as we are allowed, we will open it up. But until that time, it will have to remain at 2 balls. If it's opened up to 3 balls, we'll open it up to 3 balls. If it then becomes open to 4, then we will do everything we can to get the groups back to 4 balls as soon as possible. Some people do not have a laptop or smartphone. I think that's to book themselves. Correct, and that's, as I've said, Stuart has said that he will make his mobile number available so that people can phone Stuart and he will book them in to the tee booking system. So that will be the case for those people. Hopefully it's not a significant number of people, but for those few people that it is, then yes, it is very important for them. Can you confirm the amount of times you can play in a week over the initial period? Okay, over the initial Wednesday to Friday period, it will be once, unless there are spaces on the day during the afternoon that there are some spaces. At the weekend, again, it will be once at the weekend. Can I book a tee time, then try and find someone to join me, or do we have to get a pair before booking? Good question. And as I've said, I'm not 100% certain on that because we've not used this system for tee booking for members before. There are a few uncertainties on it. What I would suggest is find out who you'd like to play with at what time. Try and book it for the 2 of you. If it doesn't work, get hold of that person, tell them what time you've booked and try and get them to book with you as soon as they're able to. But I'm hoping, I'm sorry I'm not more certain on that. I'm sorry I'm not more certain on this, but it will be a bit of trial and error. But I'm hoping it will allow someone to book for two people. Right.
What they want to do is book for 1 and then have the site so that there's 1 available at that time. Is that not possible?
Yes. What might be the case is if you book as a single, it will show there's 1 space available with you, and they will be booked. Your playing partner will be able to book onto that space. If you're not able to book the 2 together, and I'm not sure on that. Sorry, I'm getting a gruff voice. Right, that is all the questions. I will get an email out as soon as I can to give as much detail as I can to confirm what we've put on here, to put the link on for the meeting so people can see what's been discussed. I don't think there's anything else on my list. Has anyone got any other questions before we finish? Doesn't it? So, right, before I go, or I'm going to go, but Roy is going to replace me here so that he can say a couple of words. So thank you very much for your time. Please bear with us.
Thank you, David.
As quickly as possible. Bear with me because Roy wants to say a couple of words.
How's that social distancing? Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining in. From my side of it, it sounded like a good session. I hope we've managed to answer most of your questions, although we still have questions ourselves to get the answers to before we can progress further. But we will literally, day by day, hour by hour, we're monitoring what we can allow to do. And the aim will be to get as many of you able to be out there as we sensibly and possibly can. However, the thing that I really just wanted to throw in, there's been very few questions on it this week, but last week on Zoom there were questions about where we are financially. And there was one thing that I just wanted to tell you, which is that one of the decisions that we've made as a board is that we are applying for the business bounce back loan. And the business bounce back loan, which is a maximum of £50,000, is completely underwritten by the government. It is the simpler of the loan schemes to go for. It has no implications in terms of charges against the club or anything because it's underwritten by the government. There is no interest to pay for the first year. And if we paid it back in the first year, there's absolutely no cost to the club. The reason I'm raising this now is the second that this becomes known, somebody will point out that it is in breach of the rules and the articles, which it is. The articles say that we're only supposed to borrow up to £40,000 at any one time and for a maximum period of 6 months. Well, frankly, it's unfortunate, but it's a rule that was set some time ago, didn't take into account circumstances like we face right now. I'm very keen that we get this safety net of this 50,000 in place. And what I'm intending to do, and please, you can not just at the moment, but in any other way you want to know, tell me I shouldn't be doing it. But I intend to go ahead and do it, and then retrospectively come to the club so that we technically fulfill the obligations to have a vote, which we will probably have to do online. We've never done that before, so that'll be fun. If anybody has got any serious problems with it at that point, it can be raised. And frankly, if push comes to shove, we could just pay the whole lot back and there would be no cost to it. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. And hopefully you will all be in agreement with it. It is the sensible thing to do to protect the club's finances and our ability to go forward. So, okay, I hope that's clear. That's really all I wanted to say to you. Thank you all very much for joining in and looking forward to seeing some people on the golf course again. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Roy and David.
Who was that? Marlene, thank you.
It was me. And I just think all members should just be patient. You've done a brilliant job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Roy. Bye.
Well done. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
See you on the golf course. Hey?
David and Roy, bye-bye.
No, I think we're muted now. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you very much, Dave. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you soon.